Good afternoon. I am Andrea Chisholm with the Midday News for Friday, October 12. A special welcome if you're watching on onespotmedia.com. The police have announced a major gang bust in Westmoreland. The Counter-Terrorism and Organized Crime Investigative Branch CTOC says a number of persons were arrested from the Kings Valley gang on Wednesday in an operation in the Peggy Barry district. A total of 56 people were detained. Head of CTOC, Assistant Commissioner Fitzbailey, says a number of items were also seized.
We also seized one Honda Civic motor car, and the chassis of that car was tampered with, so that is a subject of investigation. A number of cellular phones and tablets were also seized. There was also a siege of a .38 Taurus revolver, and 2 persons were arrested for that seizure.
Those 2 persons are 27-year-old Clive James, otherwise called Chris Tristan, a construction worker, and 22-year-old mechanic Dean Levy, otherwise called Nicholas.
I must point out that the objective of the operation was not just to identify gang members, but also to disrupt the activities of criminals within that space, as well as to reassure the citizens. We believe with the arrest of these individuals, we are going to see a reduction in criminal activities in that particular space. And I must point out that we are committed to go wherever the criminals are and wherever the evidence leads. The Kings Valley gang, we have identified 27 members in that gang, and we continue our investigation because our intention is to ensure that all the persons within that particular gang are brought to justice.
Damar Scott, the man accused of raping 2 American tourists at the Rica Hotel in St. James last month, is facing more charges. Mr. Scott was recently transferred from the St. James Police Division to St. Elizabeth. He has also been listed as a person of interest by the Manchester Police for 6 rape cases committed last year. Deputy Superintendent of St. Elizabeth, Leroy Minot, says forensic evidence has linked Mr. Scott to rape and other crimes in St. Elizabeth from 2012.
He was taken into custody arising out of a 2012 incident, a report of burglary, rape and robbery with aggravation committed in our parish. An active investigation commenced then into now, where he was forensically identified as the person who would have committed those acts. As a result, he will be questioned next Monday and formally charged.
On Monday, Mr. Scott was remanded when his case involving the 2 tourists was mentioned in the St. James Parish Court. He is to return to court on October 22. Mr. Scott has denied raping the women at the hotel. Industry and Commerce Minister Audley Shaw is again reiterating the importance of microfinancing to small and medium-sized entities. He was speaking at the recent Caribbean Microfinancing Conference in Montego Bay, St. James.
Too much of our traditional credit sources have been almost hostile to business. Microcredit allows borrowers who typically lack collateral or adequate collateral, stable employment and verifiable credit history to access very small loans to drive their entrepreneurial pursuits, alleviate poverty, and serves as a special purpose financing vehicle for those at the bottom of the economic pyramid.
Mr. Shaw says government is committed to the sector, saying progress is being made on the microcredit bill. The Meteorological Service is forecasting more heavy rains for Jamaica over the next few days. A trough across the Central Caribbean has been generating unstable weather conditions across the island. Atmospheric conditions are expected to become more unstable beginning this afternoon with an increase in rainfall. A warning to residents of St. Anne this afternoon about how they store water. According to Medical Health Officer for the parish, Dr. Deborah Ware, a number of mosquito breeding sites were discovered. She was providing an update on the work of her department from August to October.
Over 2,000 containers were found with possible breeding site, and of that, only 729 were positive for mosquito breeding.
Dr. Ware also noted that the parish recorded cases of Zika and chickpea, which are spread by the Aedes aegypti mosquito.
We had no suspected case of Zika in August, and in September 4 suspected dengue cases. We had 18 suspected in August and 9 in September. And chickpea, we had 3 suspected cases in September. There was none reported in August.
In the meantime, some councillors in the St. Anne Municipal Corporation are fuming over the closure of the Brownstown District Health Office. Dr. Ware, who made the disclosure at the monthly meeting of the St. Anne Municipal Corporation, said the facility was closed due to the deplorable state of the building.
The roof leaks quite a bit, and with the rainy season, we are in it's a threat to the individuals there. Things are being wet. We cannot, when it rains, we have to vacate the area. We were having problems also with water at that facility.
Councillor for the Brownstown Division, Kim Brown Lawrence, is urging the corporation to immediately address the situation.
Now for the people of Brownstown to travel to Bamboo is going to be a challenge. St. Anne's, and then to St. Anne's place, sir. So I'm asking through the corporation if they could work on it as soon as possible so that they can come back in Brownstown, sir, because they benefit thousands of people on a monthly basis just to do their food permit, everything, sir. It's a very important organization.
Mayor of Maypen, Winston Mirage, is hailing a partnership with the business community in Maypen. As we hear in this report from O'Shane Masters, the project is part of an initiative to boost development in the parish.
It's now bearing fruit. That's the response from Mayor of Maypen, Winston Mirage, about a business improvement district bid partnership between the Clarendon Municipal Corporation and business leaders in the town of Maypen. The project, which was launched last year, seeks to address major issues facing the people of the Clarendon capital, such as garbage disposal, as well as the beautification of the town.
The business improvement district concept is supposed to remedy ills faced by your town in terms of sanitation, garbage pile-up, the ugliness of a town. It is supposed to address issues like those. It's supposed to also address issues of safety.
A part of this partnership includes the placing of garbage bins all over the town of Maypen, and we have already laid down 20 garbage bins, and we will be putting another 60 out there, funded by the TEF and the business people themselves, as well as Jamalco. These bins are placed like one beside each other.
The partnership also includes a recycling program, which is slated to be launched next week.
Another area of partnership with the business leaders is that we are committed to paving the main streets coming into the town, the streets that are widely trafficked. And of course, as you know, we did Main Street already, we did Fernley Avenue, we did the Love Lane and Barnes Crescent as well. And so the business people will be coming in now to do their part, which is like make sure the sidewalks have wheelchair accessible ramps and things like those.
As for the capital's drainage system,
our drains could carry most of the water, so we are linking up with the municipal department and the NWA to see how we can expand these drains.
O'Shane Masters, TVJ News.
And time now for our fact or fiction feature, and we're asking, is this fact or fiction? The roadway through Fern Gully was established in 1901, and you can find out the answer to that question at the end of the sports segment of the newscast. In news overseas, devastation across the Florida Panhandle as its citizens start to pick up the pieces. Hurricane Michael made landfall on Mexico Beach Wednesday as a Category 4 storm, leveling buildings and scattering debris. It also took lives of 12 individuals, and the death toll is expected to rise.
From the air, Mexico Beach is a wasteland. Homes and businesses around this Florida Gulf Coast city took the brunt of the storm, obliterated by winds as high as 155 miles per hour. This was a middle school gymnasium. This, a mobile home park. Now, an apartment complex. In some areas, nothing is left but a concrete slab. Brian Waddell says as the storm came ashore, he hid in his bathroom.
This was probably the scariest I've ever been in my life. There for a while, I didn't know what was going to happen, or, you know, I was trying to call people. We didn't have no cell phone service. But, yeah, the wind was really, really, really bad.
Florida Governor Rick Scott says officials are assessing how long recovery will take, with damage reports still coming in.
This hurricane was an absolute monster, and the damage left in its wake is still yet to be fully understood. Today, the top focus is search and rescue.
But those efforts are being hampered by impassable roads, something we discovered as we tried to make our way into Mexico Beach. Downed trees and power lines are making it nearly impossible for first responders to reach certain areas.
Everything's complete destruction. All the trees are down, power lines are down. We've just been cleaning roads all morning long.
And those who rode out the storm away from their homes can't get back.
It's not good. It's not looking good. We've got reports that it's bad, very bad.
Florida officials say thousands of rescue personnel are on the ground, along with dozens of helicopters and boats to help pull people out. Meantime, there are nearly 500,000 people without power across Florida, Alabama, and Georgia. Tens of thousands of utility crews are working on restoring electricity, but officials say it could take many days.
And in sports, as the nation grapples with news of reggae boy Luton Shelton's fight with the disease ALS, the family went public for the first time about their fight. Details in this report.
The ALS Ice Bucket Challenge was for awareness. This is reality. Reggae boy Luton Shelton living with the disease. It's a symptom he had for a while, but it was only recent that the 32-year-old knew exactly what the problem was.
He's saying that when he found out he had the illness, initially he thought he had myasthenia. So he was basically preparing himself, or you know, just to know that, okay, he has this illness, so he's trying to, I guess, mentally prepared, you know, for the illness. But
knowing can be tough, so just imagine what the Shelton family is going through.
This has been the most devastating news I've heard. For, 2 years now, he first had these symptoms. So from there on, it has been really hard.
But no one is hit harder than the man himself.
Okay, let's do that side.
Funding medical bills has also gone out the roof.
Some of the tests cost over some $30,000 already in terms of US.
As chiropractic neurologist Dr. Neil Gardner explains, there is no cure for the disease.
So right now, medical science does not have an answer for ALS. Not only is there no cure for it, as I indicated, it's progressive, so it's gradually getting worse with time. There's no intervention that changes that progression. So it's not like if you do this or you do that, you may extend it to, instead of 3 years, to 5 years or to 10 years. There's nothing really that changes its downward trajectory.
ALS is not a race disease, although the Hispanic is the most unlikely race to suffer from it. Renata Brown for TVJ Sports.
Meanwhile, Sports Minister Olivia Babsy-Grange, who is overseas, has pledged financial support towards the football stars' medical care. And finally this afternoon, the answer to our fact or fiction feature. And we asked you, is this fact or fiction? The question was, the roadway through Fern Gully was established in 1901. And it's fiction. The roadway was actually built in 1907 when an earthquake destroyed one of the 8 rivers in the Ocho-Rios area. The riverbed was subsequently paved and the roadway was built. Fern Gully is a winding, scenic stretch of road which starts in Ocho-Rios and runs for 3 miles, ending up in the community of Colgate. The area gets its name from the wide variety of ferns which grow in the area, towering high above the road, forming a shady tunnel of lush greenery. And that's the Midday News. I'm Andrea Chisholm. Join us at 7 for the Primetime News Package. On behalf of the news, sports, and production teams, good afternoon.